topic. We want to respect the commissioner's time. We have 4 speakers, 1 question, 1 round. Even if you have 2 reporters from the same station, 1 question. We're going to start with Katie over here, and we'll end with my right. I will ask you not to speak over each other or yell. We want to keep this orderly and respectful. Everybody tracking. I see you calling.
Okay, Brent's going to get an opportunity for questions as well?
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Let me
All
put
hours
you-
we get an opportunity for questions.
I got you, Carly.
Thank you, Reese.
All right, y'all stand by.
Okay, is everybody rolling?
Appreciate you always. Good afternoon.
Councilman, and right next to Ms. Kathy.
Go ahead, Chief.
All right. So, good afternoon. Thank you for coming. But I want to start this press conference with actually always acknowledging while we're here, we have victims that are grieving, and we are never going to forget them. And so I know that people are still going through the drama and will continue to do so. But our hearts and our prayers truly do go out to everyone who is suffering in our community, but particularly victims. I do want to thank my mayor, Mayor LaToya Cantrell, for her absolute unwavering support in our efforts to strengthen public safety. Her leadership has been vital in moving this particular initiative, what I'm about to announce to you, moving it forward. I'm also deeply grateful to the Police and Justice Foundation for funding this partnership. Their commitment to public safety and to the future of our city has made this collaboration possible. I want to personally thank our city council, all of our city council, and the community. And I assure you that I am committed to remain transparent with clear communication and accountability. Today, I am honored to announce that Commissioner Bill Bratton has joined the New Orleans Police Department as a security consultant. Commissioner Bratton is a renowned security expert. He is uniquely qualified as the fact that he's been the Commissioner of New York City twice and the Chief of Police of Los Angeles, the 2 largest cities in our country. Globally, he has advised governments and organizations on counterterrorism, urban safety, and major event security, making him truly one of the world's leading authorities on public safety. Commissioner Bratton's unparalleled expertise in urban crime prevention will ensure that we take every possible step to strengthen our defenses. This partnership with Commissioner Bratton is a clear demonstration of our commitment to making New Orleans a safer place for all and a clear path forward. With that, I'd like to bring to the podium my mayor, the Honorable Mayor LaToya Cantrell.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you. Well, good afternoon once again, and thank you all for being here. As the Chief indicated, our hearts, our prayers, and our continued focus on our victims and families will remain. This is not moving astray from that at all, nor from them. But this is moving in the right direction in terms of improving public safety measures in the city of New Orleans as we are preparing to host national events such as Super Bowl and even Mardi Gras and all the other events that we will host in the city of New Orleans. We're focusing on a holistic approach in terms of hardening target areas in the city. As you heard me say at the end of the week, in my mind, the days are just so long, but I personally asked President Biden and the White House for additional resources relative to a tactical expert to be on the ground with the city of New Orleans. But working again with Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick, and our thinking has always been aligned, I said, look, Chief, we're going to circle the wagons on this. Go the route identifying a colleague that we know that is really second to none in this country with the experience that Commissioner Bratton will bring to the city. That's what we're doing here this afternoon. But also on tomorrow, we will also be welcoming federal experts from DHS, as well as the Federal Protective Services, who will be here in the city looking and working in collaboration, not only with what we're announcing today, but looking at Mardi Gras, looking at the Super Bowl, and recommendations that will come from this that we can live with, that we can embed the days and really years to come. But in short order, we're looking at Super Bowl, we're looking at Mardi Gras. From these initial asks of the White House as well, you know that we announced and we received on Monday the upgrade from a SEER 2 rating for Mardi Gras to SEER 1. That is huge for our city. So we are not standing idle as a city. We're taking action to ensure that our city is safe for our residents, our city is safe for our visitors, and for the long haul. So with that, you've heard Chief Kirkpatrick mention the experience that we will gain from Commissioner Bratton. I would say that I know about what he has been able to do long term, not only in New York, not only in Los Angeles, but throughout the country. And then also with one of my strongest mentors, John Linder, that worked with him directly, worked with the city of New Orleans. And so there's already a partnership that has been established, and the ability to hit the ground running, that's what we're getting. But let me tell you, it takes partnerships to make this happen. So you see, standing with me here, of course, our Councilman Eugene Green, thank you, sir. But we have members of the Police and Justice Foundation here with us. They have been strong partners with my administration, whether that is bringing on FOSTO, as we were looking at public safety measures there in terms of violent crime. Hey, we got reductions there. But now we've shifted in terms of hardening our targets to ensure that we're looking at all of our plans, doubling down how we can improve, again, to make our city safer for not only the national event that's coming, but for Mardi Gras and all those other events to follow. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up Commissioner Bill Bratton and say thank you once again, Commissioner, for being here. And with your no-nonsense approach, I know you are the right man for the job. So come on up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. It is great once again to be back in the great city of New Orleans. I've had a almost 30-year relationship with this city, known every police superintendent over that period of time, met all of those various mayors. I'm extraordinarily impressed with this mayor, just the time I spent with her today. She referenced the concept of collaboration, the importance of it. And I want to emphasize to all the various entities and agencies that are now currently involved in looking at the events of January 1st here, the various investigations, the fact that the federal government has responded to her request for assistance by upgrading the Super Bowl and Mardi Gras to Tier 1 events, to emphasize that the team I'll be bringing in, they are incredible subject matter experts on a wide range of issues relative to dealing with security and counterterrorism issues. But they're coming in to collaborate. They're coming in to review, to interact. The whole concept of collaboration is about the idea of partnership. And what do partners do? We look at problems. In this case here in New Orleans, they have the issue of the events of January 1st, certainly, but the idea of some of the fear that emanated from that event going forward in these next several weeks and next several years. How can we identify problems that need to be addressed, new ones that arose out of that event in the area of counterterrorism, the area of terrorism threat that's constantly evolving and changing, that paradigm is constantly morphing in new directions. So the idea is a learning experience here, but that learning experience is then focused on prevention, preventing anything like that from happening again, as well as new forms of terrorism or disturbance or crime that might evolve. The 3 Ps, partnership, problem solving, those partners working together, and that, if you will, force magnification focused on prevention. So I and my team at the company Teneo, that I run their Teneo Risk Division. Teneo is a CEO advisory firm based and headquartered out of New York, 2,000 people around the world. I run the Risk Division looking at certainly cybercrime, looking at terrorism issues. And I was quite pleased when the chief reached out to me, and you have an extraordinary chief here. I've known her more from a distance over the years, but she's extraordinary, and I've enjoyed the opportunity in many conversations over the last several days, and in terms of today, spending time with her. We've just come out of a 2.5-hour initial briefing on Mardi Gras, Super Bowl, what's being done. And my team, some members of my team will be in here beginning next week to start adding our influence, our thoughts, our ideas to the many ideas that have already been generated. A lot of extraordinary planning. I was very impressed with what I was exposed to over the last couple of hours in terms of what has been done up to now for Super Bowl and for Mardi Gras. God knows you certainly have a lot of experience with Mardi Gras. You've been doing them for a long time. And coming out of New York and LA, where I'm very used to large-scale events, you have a unique set of events down here, and it has a unique set of challenges. And I and my team are excited to be asked to basically participate and add our thoughts, our vision to what the mayor wants to ensure is that getting through these next couple of weeks without incident, without issue, but also the idea of moving on, understanding that she wants to create a platform that could be stood upon, not only for these next couple of weeks, but into the future. The idea of, like an accordion, the ability to expand it or contract it, depending on what's happening at any point in time. Understanding that, unfortunately, in the world of the 21st century, the issue of terrorism is constantly changing. We thought we pretty much had ISIS and Al-Qaeda knocked down. And we've seen that the events here, apparently ISIS inspired. ISIS is once again so different from Al-Qaeda because they understood in the 21st century the secret of terrorism was the ability to use the internet, the ability to inspire. They didn't have to be here. They didn't have to send teams here. They could inspire. And they've been unfortunately successful as they apparently were on January 1st. So part of this effort is to effectively create in New Orleans a capability to keep expanding with the constantly changing paradigm. So I and my team that I'm bringing in, and they'll be introduce you at some point in time, I've attempted in the couple of days that I've been working with the chief to put together a group that's very diversified in the sense of being able to meet the very diversified set of security concerns in the city. You've got crowd management, you've got crowd control, you have traffic issues, you have potential terrorism concerns, you have some traditional crime concerns, and the idea is to create a set of initiatives to ultimately prevent the unexpected, prevent the potential expected, and I think that capability is going to be effectively created. And I really want to thank the mayor, the foundation behind me, John Casman and others. John Casman and I have been dealing with each other since the 1990s. He was one of the, when I was running CompStat in New York City, he came up in 1994.
That's right.
And was at one of the first CompStat sessions, and he's the one that Mayor brought John Linder to New Orleans for the first time with Jack Maple, and brought Fausto. Now you brought Bratton, we're all here.
Yeah, we're all here.
There's something about New York that you just keep pulling us in, so it's, in any event, I am so pleased to be here, very excited about this engagement and assignment, and want to thank again the mayor, the chief, and the foundation for that. And we'll look forward to meeting more of the council members also, sir, that going forward. This is going to be a collaborative effort. We're not here to step on anybody's toes. And I was joking with them earlier, I have one of my nicknames, one of the good ones, is the great collaborator. Because my success, and I think I've had a pretty successful career, I recognize I'm never the smartest person in the room, but I surround myself with people who are a lot smarter than me and get them to work together. And that's the secret, getting them to work together.
Thank you.
Chief?
Thank you. So through the years, Commissioner, I have watched you along with many, many chiefs and colonels and sheriffs, and I have tried to carve into my character the leadership traits that the Commissioner demonstrates. I have tried to be sure that I too work as a partner and collaborative. I also have tried to model and to carve into my life what's steady, clear-minded, understanding path forward leadership. So thank you, Commissioner, very much for being the leader that so many of us want to be like. I now want to bring forward Mr. John Casbon. He's been a great friend to this police department, but he is also one of the founders of the Police and Justice Foundation. And I'd like to ask that you come and have a few words for us, John.
And I will keep it a few words, but you keep hearing the word partnership, and you keep hearing the word collaborative partnership. In all the years I've been involved in law enforcement, today the law enforcement community is the best collaborative I've ever seen. The best partnerships between all agencies I've ever seen. But there's one other partnership, and that's the partnership of our residents and our businesses. And what I want to assure you is that this is not going to be some secret operation. We're going to be very transparent. We're going to tell people what we're doing, and they're going to have a voice. And we're not intending to shut New Orleans down and make it so tight that, yes, it would be safe, but you couldn't run a business. None of that is going to happen. We're working together, and we started today with Barry Curran, who sat at the table with Mardi Gras to learn and listen to what this is all about. So I'm proud of this city. I love this city, and it's worth fighting for, believe me. And we've got a great plan, a great strategy in front of us, and let's have a great Mardi Gras. Let's have a great Super Bowl, and afterwards, we will have, the collaboration is going to continue. So we make New Orleans a safer place to live. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take questions. We'll start with Katie over here, and we'll end over here. One question, one round. Go ahead, Katie.
Okay, thank you. Katie Wise with CBS News. Thank you for your time. You know, I know you've got a big task ahead of you, Mr. Bratton. I imagine that if I were on your team, your biggest challenge ahead of you is just that you have a lot to do in a short amount of time. Mardi Gras is currently happening in the city. Super Bowl to this day, today, is exactly 1 month away. So can you explain a little bit more about your plan of how to get this done, this massive challenge ahead of you done in a short amount of time?
One, the team that has been selected for this has a broad range of experience, as you might expect, particularly the New York people I'll be bringing in from a chief of department, 2 of the top counterterrorism experts in the country, including one we nicknamed the engineer because he's probably the smartest person in America on the issue of bollards and barriers. So that there's a lot of experience, they're quick learners, quick assimilators of information. I was very impressed with the presentations I've had over the last several hours about the work that's already been done. You've been doing Mardi Gras for years here, largely without incident until this most recent event. It had nothing to do with Mardi Gras, actually, but was in the area. And so the expertise is already here. It's being enhanced with the SEER 1 classification that the mayor lobbied so hard to get, as well as some of the additional URC's monies, which is so important to pay for a lot of this stuff. No, it is a huge challenge, and I'm somebody who likes challenge, and I've got a team of people. I'll tell you, the people I approached for this, to a person, every one of them wanted to, and I've had a number of calls from people who wanted to engage in this project, not to make money out of it, but the idea of working on something that's so important. This city is one of America's icons. This city and what it does in Mardi Gras during that time, it's one of America's events to celebrate, and that they want to be part of, from a professional standpoint, being part of making it safer and keeping it safe. So I had no shortage of people that wanted to work on this project. So sorry for the long-winded answer, but I think we're up to the challenge, and one of the reasons we're up to the challenge is the collaboration. You've got an extraordinary group of professionals behind me and others who were in the room, the head of the state police, for example, as well as the organizer of all the floats here. That I learned an awful lot about floats the last couple of hours here, so thank you for that presentation, sir. So I'm actually looking forward to my first Mardi Gras. I've never been to one, so I've watched them for the years, but looking forward to coming down, and my wife has already asked me to collect as many beads as I can get.
Well, and I would just add, Commissioner, to that, the good news is that no one's starting from scratch here. My team collectively have been working, leaning in, preparing for Super Bowl and Mardi Gras, Super Bowl specifically, for over 2 years. And that is with unified command in addition to the NFL. So no one's starting from scratch here, right? We're not trying to assemble ingredients to bake a cake. We're wanting to enhance what we have already in place and be open to any recommendations that come from additional experts on the ground at the federal level and including Commissioner Braden. So we're prepared, we're open, and we're ready to implement once recommendations are made. Thank you very much.
Jambalaya? No questions? WWL?
Hi, so we're, just over a week out from that attack, and people are having a lot of questions. Have there been any subpoenas served over the attack?
We're not gonna, we made it clear today that the commissioner's time is valuable. We're gonna stay on this. We appreciate your question, send that to the office, but what's important now is moving forward, this collaboration, and making sure this information of these experts and these leaders get out to the public today. Happy to answer that, but we need to respect what we're doing and what we're talking about today, and I'll be happy to step aside to answer that later. So if you have a question based on this, I'm happy to answer that, but we'll move on after that, please.
You have a question based on this?
We can go to
Okay, we'll move on, Carly. Go ahead.
What's the timeline for deliverables and recommendations to the city?
Chief, I'll let you speak to that.
So we have,
She's been pretty stern about this.
yeah. So because we are on a timeline, the deliverables will begin, at the end, he has a 2 to 2.5 month partnership with us now. And that can be extended if needed to be, but that is where we will begin. But when you talk about deliverables, I'm thinking, are you talking about a report or a recommendation? He's going to be giving us and his team's recommendations along the way in preparation for the Mardi Gras. but an end report probably won't be before then, if that makes sense, to define what you were asking about deliverables.
WDSU.
Jack Burke with AP. Can Bourbon Street actually be made secure without, upending its atmosphere and vitality?
That has to be, Based on what I saw today, the presentations that were made to me, the history of the event, the scale of it, the floats, one of the things I talked about is that developing security provisions that don't change Mardi Gras, that don't change the flavor of it, the excitement of it, the nature of it, to try within that understanding to develop security protocols that don't become so intrusive, so disruptive that you lose the flavor of it. And we've had that challenge in New York around New Year's Eve, for example, the lighting of the Christmas tree. And so there are ways to develop enhanced security, particularly in the 21st century, with a wide range of new security opportunities that are there. Threats on the one hand, but from a law enforcement, public safety standpoint, whether it's utilization of drones, whether it's utilization of better cameras, better lighting. There's so many ways to enhance the security experience and the prevention of violence interruption that without necessarily interrupting the event itself. And that will be a lot of our focus, to be as minimally disruptive as possible. We're not talking about that you're going to need a ticket to go to the Mardi Gras. That's just not going to work. You're not going to be New York Times Square as far as penning people in. From some of the videos and some of the discussion, I can't envision penning in the Mardi Gras here in New Orleans the way it's been done in New York City for the dropping of the ball. No, this will be designed to accommodate the New Orleans Mardi Gras experience and hopefully influence a lot of the other Mardi Gras around the state.
DSU.
Are there any gaps you can identify right off the back? I know you just got here, and as far as the assessment go, how long would that assessment take?
Understanding, we've been talking since Saturday, so just 4 or 5 days. No, in terms of what I've been impressed with is what the mayor has talked about, that there's quite obviously been an extraordinary amount of planning that's gone into both the Super Bowl event. Very familiar with the Super Bowl. I've been, for the last 8 years, working for a client. I go to the Super Bowl for the week before the event to help coordinate with public safety officials, ensuring that they're getting all that they need for my client, which is one of the communications companies. So I've got a lot of intimacy. Catherine here is a 20-year colleague and friend. She's the head of security for NFL. So my sense of this NFL event coming up, the Super Bowl, and now with the added addition of SIA 1, which is already covering the Super Bowl, the fact it's going to spill over to the Mardi Gras, that's an enhancement. So what might have been a gap has been closed, this idea of the expertise from securing what's an enclosed environment, but with a lot of peripheral, the Super Bowl parade, for example, that will help to inform securing the Mardi Gras going forward. So what I was impressed with today was basically that what had been gaps that you might have described them have been in fact closed.
And how long would the assessment take? Do you have a timeline for that?
The assessment, as the chief has laid it out, we're talking approximately a 3-month period of time to, one, witness the events, offer thoughts as they're going along and developing, and at the same time looking for a report, if you will, at the end, which will incorporate an after-action review of the events of January 1st. That will be informed by a lot of the investigations that are being underway. But the idea is, and this is the mayor's vision and the chief's, they want something that is not just for these 2 events in 2025. This is to inform and help to shape the paradigm as it goes forward. Because you're a city that's doing this all the time. This isn't once a year that you have a party down here. That's why do people come to New Orleans? They want to come down and have a good time. Why? Because good times are happening all the time.
Gino.
Mr. Bratton, this is probably going to go to you as well. what are some of the first things that you'll look at as to improve the safety here? Is it going to be, focusing on crowd control first? Are y'all looking to close some streets? What's kind of the...
That actually started this afternoon, the 2.5-hour briefing. I had a number of my people on Zoom call for the presentations that were given, and again, some of them will be in the beginning of next week to physically start moving around. But it is the idea of very quickly absorbing, like a sponge, absorbing as much as we can about what has been, what is, and what will be going forward. And in dealing with counterterrorism issues, it is all about that, learning from the past to shape the present, as well as to basically inform the future. And that's what we'll be looking to do here. So we'll be acquiring, and the group of people I'm bringing in, expert at sucking up that information and then making useful intelligence out of it.
Is there any specific things that y'all are on now, or is it still just...
We've been
really
asked to
up in the air?
basically take a look at, particularly because the city's in the process through the mayor's efforts in terms of getting the funding, the CO1 initiatives that the feds will be bringing in. I've had a conversation today. Secretary Mayorkas' office called me the other day to make sure that I was going to be in contact with the Homeland Security official in charge of the Super Bowl and the parade. So I spoke with him today. He'll be hopefully meeting with my people when they come in next week. The good news is that subject matter expertise there on the barriers, on security, there's a phenomenal amount of that based on multiplicity of experiences over the years. So that's a great head start, particularly in that it's never been used for the Mardi Gras. So you're really getting a double header, if you will. You get the Super Bowl, now you're going to have that experience carry over. We'll be watching that with the idea of, today was some discussion about the ordering of barriers, that the idea of what is necessary to ensure as you start, as you mentioned, some of these parades are already beginning, that what is the state of the art? The good news is the NFL, Kathy Lanier, she understands barriers, pedestrian barriers, and they have a lot of expertise that the city, the state police are drawing on. Reason the state police colonel is not here, he's actually out at a barrier demonstration right now. Barriers that the NFL has been using that I'm familiar with, and they have extraordinarily good things. So you've got this collaboration where the expertise of the NFL, expertise of the national government, Homeland Security, and the expertise of your own police department and the state police. It's a force multiplier is the term I guess we would use.
Okay. NOLA.com.
Good evening. So what was your primary directive when you came here, and who will you be reporting to? Will it be NOPD, the mayor?
That's a great question, thank you. The client is New Orleans Police Department, the chief, and I've known her long enough that she's pretty good with a whip and a chair, getting what she wants, and so we'll be working with her, and so thank you for asking that question. And so in terms of those who might be concerned that we're going to be veering into their lane, their investigations, their areas of responsibility, no, not at all. That we're here to serve the City of New Orleans, the City of New Orleans Police Department, and hopefully by serving them well, they can then serve their other partners, state police, federal agencies, with some of the acquired expertise that they're going to be gathering.
Fox News.
Hi, so how long will your team be working with the NOPD? And I know we've been talking about possible permanent changes we could see going in for future events, and what would that look like once your team leaves? Would the NOPD would then have to get the resources themselves then? How would that kind of work? What would that look like?
The contract that we're finalizing and signing is for approximately a 3-month period. That's, you've got January, February, March to get through the events, come in with an after-action report in a timely fashion after that. And as far as going beyond that, that would ultimately be up to the needs of the chief, the mayor, and the willingness of the police foundation to support that effort. And we'd certainly be interested in engaging going forward on some of the implementation aspects of it. But right now, the focus is on those 3 months.
Last question goes to Fox 8.
Any price tag right now for the contract? I know we haven't signed
That's being finalized. I'll basically, and I will be comfortable if the foundation is at some point in time disclosing that amount. I'm not, it's something I think needs to remain a secret. But what we've also committed to the mayor is the idea, is, to use her expression, transparency, to have as much transparency as possible with you, with certainly the city council, with the public, and something I'm pretty well known for, that I think if you talk with your media colleagues in the cities I've worked in, I'm pretty accessible and really believe in transparency to as great a degree as possible. So I think that's something where the mayor and the chief and I will get along very well, and the idea of not doing this in secret, or having a secret report that basically try as much as possible to be open about what we're doing and where we're doing it and when we're doing it.
Okay, thank you all for coming out, we appreciate it. Thank you. All right, y'all can exit right through here.